BNP Paribas, partenaire des plus belles histoires de Roland-Garros, aux côtés des ramasseurs de balles depuis plus de 50 ans.
Yeah, whenever you're playing someone young, honestly, I wasn't really aware of her age until today. When I just like randomly looked and I saw she won juniors last year. So I was like, okay, yeah, she's definitely young. But yeah, whenever you're playing someone young, you know they're probably going to be free and relaxed. And I felt like that's what she was today. And yeah, overall, I'm happy with how I played. And it's tough to kind of manage that, but you know, through to the next round.
Questions, please.
Hey, Coco.
Hi.
Well done. So you get all kinds of questions about improving this and improving that. How do you balance the focus on, especially in the middle of a tournament, on what you're doing well against things that you'd like to do better in order to sort of keep your head in the right spot and not thinking about less good stuff versus really good stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I am someone to look at sometimes more negative things than positive. So, yeah, I feel like it's just taking it a match by match basis and figuring out what I can do better with each match. And yeah, I mean, once I'm in tournament, I just feel like I have to trust what the work I did before. And obviously, you know, you have the day offs in between, but you know, there's not too much you can improve in one day, but you just try to make those little steps and hope they perform in the match.
Coco, well done today. Just wondered how different the court played with the sun finally coming out compared to like your first round match, and the extent to which that affects how you prepare or how you play within the match.
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit more livelier today, and I felt better on the court today. How I changed, I mean, I went up, changed the tension a little bit just because I figured it would be a little warmer and quicker today. And yeah, with how I play, I think, I don't know, I felt like my first match felt so slow and it was so windy, so I was just trying to that was one of those things where I just felt like just trying to manage it point by point, and then today I felt like I could build a little bit more and go for my shots a little bit more, and I did that today, and playing against her, I was, you know, I had a game plan and I kind of just stuck to it the whole match, and maybe necessarily I felt like today isn't always the way I like to play, but that was what was required for today, to be honest.
Hi, Coco.
Hi.
Some players talk about making scheduling requests. They want to play at night or they don't, or can I get tomorrow off if they're coming to a tournament? I'm curious how often you make those requests, how often you get what you ask for, and has that changed over the course of your career?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not a player that requests a lot, to be honest. Like here, I could have put in requests on what day I wanted to play, and I didn't care, so let's just let the fate decide. Yeah, and usually I kind of mainly do requests, mainly if I'm playing doubles, and I'll request maybe to play earlier just so that if I have doubles, then if I'm not playing third on singles and fifth on doubles and I'm there late, I'd rather play first or second than doubles. But most times not really, unless I did well in a tournament and then I'm playing the next week, or really 2 days later, I'll ask if I can play like the latest possible like day for first rounds. But I guess over my career, like for sure, yeah, if you're ranked a little bit higher, they'll hear more of your input for sure. And I think, to be honest, it's rightfully deserved. I feel like if you do well on tour and you win so many tournaments, you should have maybe a little bit more priority when it comes to that. But when I was younger, I got protected because I wasn't allowed to play a second night match because of the age rule. So that was kind of my only request then, and it wasn't really a request, it was more so a rule. So yeah, other than that, I'm not a person that requests a lot.
Hey Coco, watching practices, it's all the changeover between players is always pretty seamless. Like at the hour, you know, a player will come off and then the next player will come on. I'm curious, has there ever been a time, maybe not at the top level, but ITFs or juniors, when you were waiting for your practice, but the player just wouldn't come off? Has that ever happened before?
It's happened on tour now, more so than juniors. Really? Yeah, you definitely get some people that you know will push their time like 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes past. For me, I'm not pretty like like on the bar with that. Like me, if I'm on the court, I always like, I'll ask the coach my time. I don't like to be that player that goes over their time. I'm gonna stop right, literally maybe even a minute before, just especially if they have to clean the court. But there are some people that go over and you're kind of standing and then you start making your way further and further on the court. To me, I don't mind as much, but it's just like acknowledge, like sometimes, you know, if someone's be like, sorry, like I have a match and I just want to hit a few more serves, I'm like, okay, cool. But the worst is like when the player like just keeps going like they're not in the wrong. And I'm like, and then they don't say sorry after. And I'm like, okay, noted. So yeah, there are some people that do go over their time, but you know, I just try to inch my way out there and be like, okay, like it's time to get off the court. But yeah, usually most people are pretty respectful when it comes to that because we all know that it's sometimes hard to get practice. So every minute is kind of worth it.
So, sorry, when you're inching over, like, do you stare at them directly and kind of make your presence felt, or?
Yeah, kind of. I don't stare at the player. I'll just like kind of inch my way on the court because I won't do it till it's like 3 minutes. And if they look like they're wrapping up, then I'm chill. But some people just will keep going unless you like say something. So yeah, but usually my coach will start making his way like on the court. But yeah, I'm not that person. I'll finish like at my time. No, you guys already know that would start a whole thing, so you should already know the answer to that.
Hello, Coco.
Hi.
Congrats.
Thanks.
2 days ago, Ons Jabber made some comments about not scheduling women's matches in the evening. How do you feel about that? Do you support Ons? Your thoughts on it? Does it bother you as a woman, as a professional athlete?
Yeah. Yeah, I talked about this a few days ago, and to be honest, I didn't really have all the facts of the situation. I do think that women's matches are worthy of a night spot. And yeah, I think, to be honest, if there was going to be 2 spots, I don't think that a woman should play after the men at 8:15. I just think that's unfair because you could go on at 11, really, and that's if the match really goes fast. But I think there is opportunity to put a match earlier at like 7 or like normal Grand Slam, or not normal Grand Slams, but most tournaments do the 2 night slots. So yeah, I think it's just, if they are going to put one match at 8:15, I mean, there for sure could be an opportunity to put a woman there. And if they're going to put 2 slots and the first match is starting at 8:15, I don't think that a women's match should be played after a men's match. I just don't think that people should be going on at 11 or 12, to be honest. But yeah, I definitely do agree with Ons when you feel like what's best for the fans. But I feel like we produce some high quality tennis and we have some great stars on the women's side that fans I'm sure would love to see. And from my experience playing at US Open, night match at 7 p.m. with Novak following me, and he's the greatest player of all time, people were almost just as excited to see me play as him. And yeah, and same in other places that I played, like Australia, night match, people were excited to see too. So I definitely think that there's opportunity to improve that in the future with this tournament.
Are you aware when you're playing, especially a younger player, how heavily they're breathing during your match? I mean, just like, they're kind of gassed, given your style of play and getting extra balls back in ways. Are you able? Have you noticed that?
It's not something I notice in match, to be honest. But I do notice, like, if I'm breathing a little bit heavier, I know they're breathing more heavier, regardless of age. It's just the player thing. I'm really confident in my fitness, to be honest. And so, yeah, but it's not something I look over and see, to be honest. If she was doing that today, I definitely didn't notice.
Yes, today your return games were very good, but not your serve games. How do you explain that?
Got to serve better and keep returning well. I don't know what else to say.
Actually, last question over to the side. You could just come into view so she can see you. Can you see?
Hi, Coco.
Yeah, I can see.
The other day, I think you were answering a question about Serena, and you seemed to be implying that, well, you said the players really are the only ones who know about the tour, and seem to implying that there's some really tough sides to it.
Yeah.
And obviously, you've had a spectacular run. But could you take a moment and just talk about what are the downsides, what are the challenges in in playing the tour, traveling?
Yeah, I think just sometimes the solitude of it, and I am someone who enjoys to be alone, but you know, you're alone a lot on tour, and like I mean, for me it was harder, especially when I was younger, just because there wasn't anyone. I went from juniors with everyone being my age, finding a way to relate to someone, doing something with friends, and then going to tour and everyone being like 10 years, obviously it's not the case so much now, but 10 years older, and you know, it's not like you can just be like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And with someone, like, most people aren't gonna wanna go to dinner with someone that young. So yeah, that was the harder part for me with that transition, just basically having friends on tour to not having any friends, and trying to work through that. But I think that's why I tried to travel a lot with my parents, and even then it's tough because I don't think anyone wants to spend as much time with their parents all the time, that what I had to do when I was younger. But now I definitely try to make more friends on tour, and like with Robin and Alex, just playing doubles too, to just help build those friendships. So I think whenever I do see younger players on tour, necessarily we don't have to be friends because they might not want to, but I definitely just try to reach that hand out or say hello or just make the vibe better, because I know that for the few players that did do it to me when I was coming up, I appreciated it a lot.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.